And together, let's just take a breath. Let's just be present in this right now moment. For the fullness of everything that is good, that is God, that is love, is present in this right now moment. And for this we are so grateful. So we lift our hearts and our minds to be aware, to acknowledge, to know that the fullness that is God, that is life, that is love, is in the palm of our hand right now. Feel it. And God so loved and trusted each one of us that God put a life in our hands. And each morning you awake with life in your hands. That life is you, and you are a unique and a divine expression of God. And God loves you. And God needs you. Feel that life in your hands. And know that right now your life is in the hand of an angel. Because you never know who your angel's going to be or how your angel's going to show up. Feel that life. That God so loves you that God sent legions of angels to watch over you. And right now your life is in the hand of an angel. So in the awareness of this fullness, of this life, of this love, of this protection, we just say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. We thank you for keeping this divine appointment with us today. We know that you knew this day was coming before the ends of the earth were formed. You knew at the beginning, God, you knew at the end, which means you had the middle covered. And we are so grateful. We thank you for bringing us together in this space at this time, just to share in life, in love, in joy. We ask that thy perfect will be done in us, as us, and through us. In me, as me, and through me, God. I ask to be your living testimony today. I ask that you use me to answer questions on the hearts and minds of these your children, that each one of them will leave here feeling closer, more connected to you. I ask that they see less of me and more of thee, and that thy will unfold easily and effortlessly under grace. I ask, God, that you let the ears that can hear, the hearts that can receive, the minds that can be opened. And for those hearts, ears, and minds, God, that are not open and don't know how to receive, we ask for your grace, for your grace is our sufficiency. So for this moment, this time, this meeting, this day, this grace, this joy, this love, this life, we say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Let thy will be done. For we will to will thy will, God. Please show us how. Let it be so, and so it is. And together we breathe. And gently, ever so gently, just let your neighbor's hand go. Your angel's hand go. Don't manhandle the angel. And just because you can and just because it's free, I want you to turn to the left or to the right, maybe behind you, and just hug you an angel. Get you a hug. Oh, he's got two women. He don't know where to go. Get them both. It's free. You can't get in trouble. You're in church. Good. Hugging angels is good. Yay. Was that good? Good. Give yourself some love. Y'all are not an obedient crowd. I said give yourself some love. Now, you people back there in the back, y'all got to come up front. I don't have my glasses on. I can't see you. You could have some divine insight for me. I can't see you. Do I have to come back there and get you? Come on up front. I smell very good. Good evening, Seattle. How are you? Good. All due respect to the minister. I don't know if the presiding minister's here or not, but I'm taking my shoes off in the pulpit. I can do that, thank you. But I'll leave them there just so you could see what they'd look like if I did have them on. Is that okay? All right. So nice to be here. Did they tell you I just got off a boat from Alaska? I never knew the earth had so much water on it. I live in the country. I knew about trees. I did not know about water. I mean, I saw water everywhere. Water for days. There was one day we traveled all day and all I saw was water. There was no land. There was just water. And that's good to know because water is the fluid of life. So that means there's life all around us. The other thing it really taught me is how much I really don't know about this planet. How much. When we passed the glacier and we saw the little pieces of the ice breaking off, I had a whole new respect for global warming. You know, I live in the country and I recycle every now and then, but I have a whole new respect for hearing that and understanding what that is. So is everybody good? Yes. Is everybody good? Yes. Shaking of head is good. Okay, great. And fix my mic. Is it doing something? I don't know how to do these mics. I'm used to a handheld, so I have to sit down and keep because otherwise I'll talk with my hand. The truth is I have a Pentecostal preacher up under these pants. And so we're in church. I'm just trying to keep her contained because I don't want to scare nobody. I was in the back, and as you would expect to find in the church, I found a Bible. And I turned to Isaiah 60. And Isaiah 60 says, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the Spirit of the living God is upon you, and his glory shall shine upon you." I was born to an alcoholic mother. She was the other woman. My father was married, and my mother was his lover that he stashed away in his mother's house 3 blocks from where he lived with his wife. I guess he didn't want to have to travel far. My mother was an alcoholic who discovered when she was pregnant with me that she had both breast cancer and leukemia. She went to work on the Pennsylvania Railroad when she was 13 years old, washing dishes and cleaning bathrooms because that's what people of color were allowed to do. And she worked on the Pennsylvania Railroad from the time she was 13 until she was 31 when she had my brother. And she was home with him for a year when she discovered she was pregnant with me. And she also discovered that she had breast cancer and leukemia. So the Pennsylvania Railroad felt obliged to release her from her employment without medical benefits, which was the time. So in her drunken stupor, she stayed in my grandmother's house. And I can only imagine that in that room, I marinated in shame and guilt and fear, as well as alcoholic beverage, which is probably why I do not drink. I stayed drunk from conception to birth. That was enough. And even with all of that, God still says to me, "Arise and shine, for your light has come, and the Spirit of the living God shines upon you, and the glory of God shines upon you." I say, no matter where you've been and what you've been through, God has something good for you to do. I don't know if she was drinking the day I was born or not, but I do know that we lived on a 4th floor walk-up. And somehow between the trip from the 4th floor down to the ground floor where they caught a cab. She didn't have enough time. So I didn't actually make it to the hospital. I was born in a taxi cab. I don't know if they dropped me on my head or not. There is some question about it. But what I do know is that they messed up the cab, and the cab company sued my parents because they couldn't clean it out. So you see, I was born a problem. And God still says to me, arise, for your light has come. No matter where you come from, God has something important for us to do. My grandmother, my father's mother, who coveted his lover, my mother, was a Tsleki, what the English tongue would say Cherokee, married to a Blackfoot. And she taught me a lot about Native American tradition when she wasn't in the Pentecostal church. She did lots of full moon ceremonies and all kinds of stuff with herbs and incense and everything, and then she would go to church and ask to be saved. Because she was smart enough, clever enough, wise enough to know that she needed fellowship in her connection with God, but she was also wise enough not to let her culture go. We need not strip ourselves of our culture in order to get to God, because God said to everyone, arise and let your light shine, for the glory of God is upon you.